Well, hello and welcome to This Month in Hamilton, our October 2024 edition. I want to start out by thanking WBCB 1490 AM radio for allowing us each and every month to bring you what's going on this month in Hamilton. Want to also thank our sponsors, Capital Health System, Haldeman Ford and Subaru, Saul Funeral Home, and Kessel Dermatology. So we are taping this on October 22nd, 2024. Joining us a little later in the program will be the owner and operator of Full Spectrum Therapy to talk about all the ways her organization and is helping those with developmental disabilities in Hamilton, and also talk about we've just reinvigorated our commission on persons with special needs and talk about what some of the programs are and some of the things they're doing as well. So a lot of good stuff coming up later in the show. But just want to start out by thanking all who came out for our Oktoberfest. We had a beautiful, almost too warm fall and autumn day this past Sunday. We easily had over 10,000 people come out. It was a great event. Want to thank our Public Works team, our recreation team, but then also all the different public employees who made the day possible, police department for keeping us safe, fire for allowing everybody on their new fire truck, just all the employees that go into making it a great event, all the vendors who come out to ensure that it's a great event. Nicole will be talking about what her organization did at Oktoberfest as well, and the importance of why it started last year and keeping it going too. So, but thank you for coming out. I hope you had a great time. You know, we heard a few complaints on social media, one being that it was too crowded because we've put it pretty much all on the south side where it used to be more spread out. But we used to get complaints that it was too spread out and made it difficult, especially with families with young ones, to get to see everything. So we had condensed it, and that it was only one day instead of two. And trust me, I understand it was such a great day that it would have been great to have it 2 days in a row. But it would have been a little too taxing on our public employees who make sure it gets on. It might have been even too taxing on a lot of the vendors. It's easy for, not even easy, it's a lot for them to do it for one day, let alone 2 days. So, but we hope you enjoyed it. We hope you came out. It was a great event, and we're really proud of what we did. I know many of you are gearing up for Halloween. We hope you have a safe Halloween. Just so you know, we always put a little extra police officers out on the street for mischief night. Knock wood, it really hasn't been an issue for a while, but also for Halloween as well. We want to make sure all those trick-or-treaters are kept safe. So if you're going out trick-or-treating or you're sending your kids out trick-or-treating, we'll have some extra police officers out on the road on Halloween as well. Hopefully you all stay safe. I know the trunk-or-treats have become a huge thing. We loan out our light towers to a lot of the elementary schools who do trunk-or-treats, and it's actually reduced the amount of trick-or-treaters, or at least reduced the amount of time trick-or-treaters are out actually on Halloween. So we hope to have another safe Halloween as well. Coming up in November, obviously Election Day, November 5th. If you vote by mail, we hope you get already gotten your ballot in, and if not, you get it in soon. Early voting opens soon as well. We have a voting location right here in Hamilton at Colonial Firehouse. So if you think something may come up on November 5th or that you'll be gone, make sure you get, and you don't do vote by mail, you have the opportunity to do early voting as well. And we have a location right here at Colonial Firehouse. And obviously, November 5th at your normal polling location, make sure you check your polling location. We had to switch some of them up during the primary and working with the Superintendent of Elections office, partially because of, or a big reason why, is less poll workers than we've had in years past. So we've had to condense some districts and get them into less places. So make sure when you get your sample ballot that you look to see where you're supposed to go on November 5th to vote. We want to make sure you have every ability and every chance possible to have your vote and have your voice heard. So please remember to go out and vote if you haven't already by mail. Make sure you vote early or you vote on Election Day. And we hope for whatever the result, a peaceful result here in our country. Right on the heels of that, then we get ready, obviously, for Thanksgiving, and shortly after Thanksgiving, our Winter Wonderland celebration at Cruiser Park. So more to come on Winter Wonderland. It'll be the weekend after Thanksgiving. If you remember last year, we changed it up again. We moved it a little earlier on Friday evening, so I think from 4:30 to 7:30 p.m. And then the Saturday from 2 to about, I think, 7 p.m. as well. So again, it's been such a hit. We wanted to give families an opportunity. I know my little one falls asleep sometimes 7:30 at night, so you want to get her fed and bathed and all that before that happens. So we wanted to give families the opportunity during the day on Saturday to also get their kids out to Cruiser Park, whether that's to take pictures with Santa, just to see the lights, take a tour of the mansion. Whatever it is you enjoy about Winter Wonderland, we wanted to make sure you had the opportunity as well. Our fire chief and fire department are in close coordination with Santa to try to get him to drive around town again this year. So we hope you'll see that in December. So more to come on that through our fire division. We really want to thank the FMBA on the work they do there as well to coordinate with Santa and the elves to get him driven around town in a safe manner. I think he's due to get a police escort again this year as well. So really exciting stuff now coming in. As I said, we're recording this October 22nd. So you got just about 2 months to do all your holiday shopping for those who celebrate Christmas too. So a lot of good stuff there. Right now, what's going on around town is a lot of infrastructure projects. So you've got Aqua doing some major infrastructure projects on and right off George Dye Road. So you'll see a lot of work there. PSE&G doing work in different parts of the town, doing some gas line upgrades. And then Trenton Waterworks is going to be doing some more lead line replacement upgrades around town as well. So we know these projects can be an inconvenience from a traffic standpoint, or maybe if they're in front of your house from a noise or dust standpoint. But we really want to stress it's critical. Aqua's doing a water main, PSE&G doing a gas main, Trenton Waterworks doing lead line replacement. All really important projects to make sure you're getting safe and clean drinking water, or you're getting safe natural gas delivered to your home, especially in time for winter. So all really key infrastructure projects. And I really want to thank those organizations for working with us and being committed to doing those projects and doing them in a respectful and safe way. And then we're working with them too as they cut roads open. Either we'll do some paving on roads that we were planning on paving. Maybe they'll do some paving of these major roads once they're done. We've worked out some agreements with them because it's not fun after you cut open a road to then drive over what could be a keyboard type thing, right? Where you get all the bumps and things like that. So they've been great in working with us in trying to get these major projects done, but then also get the roads repaved to make sure it's not bumpy for too long. Because we're now going right now we're in unseasonably warm weather, so we could still do some paving, but generally around this time of year we stop doing the paving. So you may see the infrastructure projects done. You may or may not see them repaved at this point, but they'll be repaved, many of them, come the springtime once the weather warms up again. Another big project, our Hamilton Township Municipal Building. We did the official groundbreaking ceremony last week, October 16th. Had a great turnout, especially amongst town representatives, school district representatives, from those vendors and labor unions who are going to be involved in building the project. So really want to thank all those who came out. You're really going to start seeing stuff in earnest come November. Our goal is to get holes dug and foundations poured before the ground freezes, so we can continue then working through the winter. But over the next coming weeks, you'll start seeing equipment get delivered. You'll start seeing trailers get delivered, temporary power hooked up. You should have already seen the fence being put up. So we're really excited that come November, you'll start to see and maybe through the fence, maybe not. But then over the winter, as steel starts going up, really start to see some of that progress as you drive by each and every day. Again, it's a 2-year expected build time, so our expected move-in is the fall of 2026. So we're really excited to go in there. I know the school district's excited as well to really have now a central hub for the township for all your needs that you may need from either the municipal government or the school district, to have a central meeting place, whether it's a school board meeting, a council meeting, a planning board meeting, one that includes a lot of technology upgrades so that wherever you sit, if something important is being discussed and shown on a screen, you'll have the opportunity from wherever you sit to see what's being said and what's being shown as well. But to revitalize what was a vacant and abandoned building for 15 plus years too, right in the center of town. And now creates really a major thoroughfare in the central part of town, right? So right down the street from that a little bit is the police station and library and golf center where we do this taping. Off of Whitehorse Mercerville Road, you have the senior center. You've got Mercerville Firehouse, Whitehorse Firehouse. So a lot of central things right on that main strip that you'll be able to get to if you need to. Speaking of just some other things, and I'm sorry, we're almost at the end of this segment, so I'm going to just hurry it up a little bit. But you also start seeing, as it relates to those projects, different banners going up along the fence from those who are involved in the construction and the like. We're really excited for this project to move forward, and we hope you are too, and for the secondary projects that may come after, right? As we look to, I know the school district needs more space for more kids, and especially hopefully for pre-K expansion, that this will lead to secondary and other projects down the line as well. So we're going to take our short break. As you can see, there was a lot to talk about and a lot going on in town, but want to give Nicole from Full Spectrum an opportunity to get in here and talk about all the exciting things she's doing and her organization are doing in helping those with developmental disabilities in Hamilton and the surrounding community. So we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll be joined by Nicole.
Kessel Dermatology in Hamilton Square is an award-winning dermatology practice led by Dr. Daniel Kessel, a board-certified dermatologist. He and his expert staff treat patients of all ages. They offer treatments of all types of skin, hair, and nail conditions, and annual skin cancer screenings, anti-aging treatments, ultraviolet A and B light treatments, skin tightening procedures, Botox, and other treatments that enhance your skin's overall health and appearance. Kessel Dermatology is open Monday through Thursday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., Friday, 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. For appointments, call 609-890-2600. That's 609-890-2600. Or visit KesselDermatology.com. They're at 1700 Whitehorse, Hamilton Square Road. Kessel Dermatology. They're good. Capital Health's primary care network continues to grow, bringing its extensive option of locations to your neighborhood. Whether you're scheduling a wellness checkup or not feeling well, advanced medicine starts with a Capital Health primary care doctor at locations near you in Mercer, Bucks, and Burlington counties. To find a Capital Health primary care location that's convenient for you, visit capitalmedicalgroup.org. That's capitalmedicalgroup.org. Hamilton Township in Mercer County is fortunate to have many fine businesses that serve our community. Saul Funeral Home is a fourth-generation family-owned business proud to support our local schools and community. Their compassionate and caring staff is there for you and your family. They'll bring the closure you deserve while also celebrating the life of your loved one. Visit their website at saulfuneralhomes.com. That's saulfuneralhomes.com. Saul Funeral Home at 3795 Nottingham Way, Hamilton Square.
Well, welcome back to This Month in Hamilton. Want to again start out by thanking our sponsors, Capital Health System, Haldeman, Ford and Subaru, Saul Funeral Home, and Kessel Dermatology. So, Nicole, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Really exciting. I know we run into each other all the time, right? And
yes.
So thought you'd be a great guest to have on today to talk about all the exciting things you're involved in.
Wonderful.
And the organizations you're involved in, right? And really helping people. I mean, that's what I know it's all about for you. So
Definitely.
can you tell our audience just a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I am a licensed clinical social worker. So that was my trade prior to motherhood. Full spectrum was a derivative of COVID and having a child on the spectrum. So my youngest daughter is 10, and she was diagnosed at 3 with autism spectrum disorder. During the pandemic, there were no services, and so Full Spectrum came about to kind of like answer that call. I've now become all things special needs. So I've learned just by being in the community and seeing, the aging process. Like what's the next thing? What's the next service? What's the next struggle that a family might have? What are the struggles that they're currently having? And so everything is very reactive. It's a lot of conversations with the community and finding out what are people struggling with? What can we do to help? And through the journey, we've really collected people who have said, hey, I really want to be a part of that. One of the things that, the girls at the office will always tease me about is that I pride ourselves on, we've never done an Indeed ad. We've never posted a job posting. Everybody that's come to Full Spectrum has a story where they were connected to us in some way, or they have a family member and they saw us at an event. I want to be part of your team. This is something that I want to do. Or moms that said, hey, I have a couple of hours while they're in school. Is there something that I can do to help? So this is really a community project, and I'm excited about it. The name Full Spectrum, when I thought of it, was kind of just that's cool. But it's the full spectrum of things. It's not just autism. It's children with physical disabilities. It's adults. So working with adults with disabilities and figuring out employability and what can they do to make their quality of life easier and better. What do we do for the mothers of children who have older kids with disabilities, and how do they manage that process, their own aging, and who's going to care for my child, down to the littles that are just getting diagnosed, or there's a suspicion of a diagnosis, and trying to help a family on that journey. We are committed to kind of being involved in the child's life until they're an adult. We want the families to be with us forever. So throughout the journey, we keep thinking of new ways to make life just a little bit easier. How can we help? How can we add something that would give somebody that moment of just all right, things are going to be all right. So that was the long version.
Yeah, but no, I mean, it's great, right? So even if they take that breath, even if it's just for a minute or an hour or a day, right? Sometimes that's just what you need to be able to continue on and to continue to provide your own love and support for your loved one who is on the spectrum, right? Or has some other, as you said, physical disability or what have you.
Yep.
So it's almost that wraparound service,
Correct.
right? That you're providing as well.
Yeah.
So where is Full Spectrum now? I mean, I've taken the tour. We did the ribbon cutting, right?
Yeah.
I've talked a lot about this road coming up, so just recently.
So we're actually a block away from you. We are on Whitehorse Mercerville Road at Cranbrook 2. And so at this point, we now occupy 50% of that building.
Wow.
The goal is for this to become a one-stop shop for all things behavioral and mental health needs. So everybody in the family can get what they need, from a brother who doesn't have special needs and just needs maybe tutoring help or social skills, mom who maybe is looking for therapeutic services. We want to be able to meet everybody's needs in one space so that people aren't spending their family time traveling around to different services.
So, we did the ribbon cutting, 2 years ago or so, right?
Correct.
And not that you had a small office, but it certainly wasn't 50% of the building, right?
Correct.
So, I mean, how have you grown, and why have you grown that much, right? I think that speaks volumes about just the need, right?
Yeah.
But talk about that if you can.
It comes out of, a necessity. So we started to, after COVID, we started to get a lot of kids in the practice, which is actually kind of sad. So where Psych Health does all for the most part, adult mental health, adolescents and teens, started to see a lot of kids coming in, kids under the age of 8 with anxiety or reports of depression and inability to sit still now at school. So now they're at school and they're having a hard time sitting still. They're having a hard time with academics. And we saw a need to put something in place so that we could address that need as well. And, no 8-year-old love, as beautiful as my office is, they don't love sitting on my couch and staring at me. So we created a sensory space downstairs where it's meant for them to play and get dirty, and there's a sandbox inside, and they make slime, and there's a rock wall and a zip line and crash pads and things.
Wait. You have a zip line in your office.
We do have a zip, not in my office. However, the zip line is right under my office. So as I'm doing therapy sessions, I can hear the zip line going. So I know that they're happy. It's a good way to know how everything is going. But yeah, there is a zip line in the office. There's swings in the office. Some kids just need to constantly be moving. They can engage in a conversation. They can learn. But they got to be moving when they do it. And so we have a bunch of different rooms set up to be able to do that. Our newest expansion was 206, which we made like a large conference room. We never really needed a conference room before, but we started being asked to do a lot more support groups and trainings. So we needed a space to be able to accommodate that. So now we have this really large, beautiful conference room that we can have the kids downstairs while mom and dad are upstairs. And everybody kind of leaves feeling like they got what they needed for that day.
Mm-hmm. And that ability to take a breath, right?
Absolutely.
As you said before, right? It's just that moment sometimes you need.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you come up with the idea of swings and rock climbing in an office space and,
Yeah. I will candidly say prior to London's diagnosis, I didn't know a whole lot about special needs or sensory processing or autism or anything, until it affects you, you don't really know how you're going to respond. But because I was already in the mental health field when she got her diagnosis, I threw myself into all things autism and special needs. Teach me all the things. So I had the benefit of going to a lot of trainings. I had the benefit of going to a lot of mental health conferences. I actually just completed the coursework and my internship to get my BCBA. So
what's that?
Certified behavioral analyst.
Okay.
So in addition to being a social worker, I'll be able to do this field as well, because I felt like I need to know all the things. How do I help if I don't know all the things? So learned that swings were really calming and soothing for kids on the spectrum, the rocking back and forth. Learned that kids with ADHD just need to be in motion. They need to move. How do we make that possible? How do we make learning engaging? How do we get them to be able to talk about their feelings without sitting like this? Because eye contact might be really uncomfortable for me. So I can talk to you if I'm climbing up a rock wall. I can talk to you if I'm building Legos. I could talk to you if I'm playing with slime, but I can't talk to you if I'm sitting with you like this. Similar to my concerns this morning. So, yeah.
Well, I don't have slime or anything like that, but you're doing a great job.
No fidgets. I have nothing to play with, but I'm working it out.
Coming from somebody who just did slime with a then 3-year-old, I feel you are brave to bring slime into the office.
Listen, that was when I did that. When I put the sandbox inside and when I put the slime inside, every staff, everybody looked at me and went, "That's not a good idea. Why are we doing that? That's not." And I said, "Listen, parents don't want these things in their home."
Well, that's true.
So if we could give them the opportunity to do it here, and this is a here thing, and we leave it here with your name on it, we don't bring it home. I've just given a parent the ability to go, "Thank you." Like, you can play with slime here, and that's the only place we play with slime. So, the room is everything is wipeable. So, but yeah, I thought that was, I don't want kids playing with slime in my house either.
Exactly.
Do it somewhere else. with no carpet, and with the walls can be wiped. So that was done intentionally. Although everybody, I think they curse me daily for it.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they've gotten used to it now, and it's fine now. Talk a little bit. You've mentioned this a lot, right? During COVID, coming out of COVID, just the, if you said your daughter got diagnosed when she was 3, right? But say for any 3-year-old who turned 3 in 2020, 2021, where they're all the in-person things, right? Of going to an office space or talking, or dealing with slime because you didn't want to touch something that somebody else touched, right? Like, how did that just impact this field or impact you or impact the community, right, during that time?
So ABA, which is Applied Behavioral Analysis, is kind of the go-to. It's not the only method, but it's the go-to method. It's what insurance kind of will cover for persons with autism. ABA can be applied to anybody. It's figuring out a function of a behavior and then replacing that over time, repetition. Most of those services historically got done in your home. So a therapist came to your home, and they did that in your home. After COVID, people don't want to go in anybody's homes. Mm-hmm. During COVID, nobody wanted to go in anybody's homes. So it became very community-based, out in parks, at soccer fields, places that could be outside and away from people's home. So when we created Full Spectrum, it was to respond to okay, so we're going to do it in a center so that we don't have to be in your home. Mm-hmm. That this place is sanitized. We're, at the time we were wearing masks. We were doing all the things that we were supposed to do. But it was now not in your home, and we've now created socialization opportunities. That then kind of, when things started to open up, we really wanted to get these kids back into community settings. One of the downsides of autism and a lot of kids with any type of disability is the regression piece. So they learn so much, and then something stops, and then the progress stops, and we can end up back where we were really quick. So kids that had been very sketchy about going to places because it was too bright in here, it was too loud in here, there's too many people in here, they thrived during COVID. They were like, yes, more of this. So getting them back into grocery stores, getting them back into malls, into places where they had to interact with other people, it really was a process to get them comfortable with that again. So part of what we do now is that's built into their therapy. Mm-hmm. What they're doing on a daily basis is, going to the food store. They are, depending on what level they're at, they're going to the food store and they're buying stuff to make their lunch for school the next day. They are coming upstairs and they're meal prepping, so they're learning how to do those things. They're going bowling, so they are at Hamilton Lanes twice a week. They're at Sky Zone, and it's so that they have that inclusive piece. I don't want them just with each other all the time. They've become the best friends, and it's great, but I really want them interacting with all kinds of kids.
Sure.
That's how they're going to learn.
Absolutely.
So it post-COVID, it's worked out really great, that kind of slow transition back into doing regular community things.
Awesome. So, Nicole, we're done with your first segment. See, you're a third of the way done. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll continue to talk to Nicole just about some of the new and exciting things she's done with partnerships, especially with the Township. So we'll be back in just a moment.
Merrill Reese, here to tell you about my good friends at Haldeman Ford-Subaru on Route 33 in Hamilton Township. For outstanding sales and service, you can depend on the folks at Haldeman Ford-Subaru for the best value on new and pre-owned Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs, along with a great selection of value-priced new and pre-owned Subarus. And no one offers the service that Haldeman does in their huge, state-of-the-art service facility. Service so great that many area municipalities and commercial fleets get their service performed by Haldeman Ford-Subaru. From Langhorne to Princeton, folks like you to commercial fleets trust the name Haldeman for sales and service. Haldeman Ford-Subaru, Route 33 in Hamilton Township. Capital Health's primary care network continues to grow, bringing its extensive option of locations to your neighborhood. Whether you're scheduling a wellness checkup or not feeling well, advanced medicine starts with a Capital Health primary care doctor at locations near you in Mercer, Bucks, and Burlington counties. To find a Capital Health primary care location that's convenient for you, visit capitalmedicalgroup.org. That's capitalmedicalgroup.org. Hamilton Township in Mercer County is fortunate to have many fine businesses that serve our community. Saul Funeral Home is a fourth-generation family-owned business proud to support our local schools and community. Their compassionate and caring staff is there for you and your family. They'll bring the closure you deserve while also celebrating the life of your loved one. Visit their website at saulfuneralhomes.com. That's saulfuneralhomes.com. Saul Funeral Home at 3795 Nottingham Way, Hamilton Square.
Well, welcome back to This Month in Hamilton. Want to again start out by thanking our sponsors, Capital Health System, Haldeman, Ford, and Subaru, Saul Funeral Home, and Kessel Dermatology. So, Nicole, before the break, we were talking about, COVID, kids being isolated, right? And some kids loving that and now getting them back out into the community. But, that could be a quick transition or a slow transition, right, depending on the child, right? But interacting with people, being in situations where there could be a lot of people, right? There could be a lot of people at a grocery store. There could be a lot of people in a park. And now for the second year, I was just talking about Oktoberfest, right? We've partnered that Full Spectrum runs a sensory safe place in DeMayo Field. So talk a little bit about what the motivation of that was, how you kind of came up with that brainchild. Was it as pushback like slime was originally, or did people kind of just be like, yep, that's perfect, let's run?
So thank you for letting us do that for a second year in a row, putting your faith in us that we were, be able to pull off something like that. And, I think the motivation was, hearing, so I'm a member of Shop Hamilton, and leading up to Oktoberfest, there was a lot of, discussion about what people would be doing for Oktoberfest, knowing that that's such a big event for the township, and then talking to, going back to the office and talking to our families and saying hey, you guys going, you're going to go to Oktoberfest. We were thinking about setting up kind of like a table, probably a slime table. And parents were like, oh, no, we can't do that. It's too crowded. He'll run away. He can't stand in the line. Bathroom, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? Now that I think about it, we've never been to Oktoberfest, because I think when we think about taking London, just all of the stress that would go along with that for her and for us, we were like, yeah, probably not. Probably would be best not to do it. And so I contacted the township, and you guys responded immediately. And we met out the field, and they said, "Do you want a small area that we could kind of put a fence around?" And I said, I really kind of want that.
I want the whole field, right?
That looks nice. How about that? You responded, and you guys said, and I explained the justification kind of for that DeMayo Field has one way in and one way out. That gate right in the middle, that's it. So for our kids that tend to elope, they are track stars. They take off, and that's it. This was a really great way for parents to not have to hover. You could let them go. They ain't going anywhere. We made sure that we had people at the gate so that no child would leave without a parent. And you guys said, yeah, I mean, if that's what you want, go ahead and do it. I came back to the office and I said, hey, we're going to,
guess what?
We're not going to do a slime table. Actually, we're going to do a whole field. And I think that it was like 3 weeks beforehand. And everybody kind of gave me that look of like, oh, okay, all right. But as they always do, everybody pitched in. The parents pitched in, staff. We had volunteers come, and we sat down and brainstormed all the things that we thought would make life easier for somebody coming to Oktoberfest. And we thought about the inclusivity piece of it. So that's why I wanted the field. I didn't want just like a small area, because I wanted it to be that all kids, right? So this is a sensory safe area, but it means that anybody could come into this area, with the goal of watching kids with special needs and kids that are neurotypical be able to interact and play together.
Because it's good for both,
It's
right?
great. It's really, it's such a positive thing for both. So setting it up to be enticing for both neurotypical kids and for kids on the spectrum and kids with sensory issues, and safe for kids with physical disabilities. And it would be something that a parent would have that moment of, okay, cool. Like,
Again, that breathing moment,
yeah.
right?
So we set out mats so that parents would be encouraged to grab food, come and sit. We did a sensory tent so that a kid could kind of just take some time, or a parent if they needed it, to just kind of be in this blacked out tent and have some space away from all of the chaos. We did bounce houses because our kids love to jump. That's why you'll find us at Sky Zone quite often. We partner with them quite frequently. We did a slime station. We did an inside out table that really gave the kids an opportunity to talk about their feelings, identifying through stickers like how they're feeling and why they feel that way. This year we had IGO STEM, which is a child care center that focuses on STEM interaction. Come and join us to do some STEM activities for some of our kids that would be really involved and into that. So we were excited to have them there. Space, just the open space.
To run, right?
To run, to do bubbles, was really, it was great. I think we're really seeing an involvement from, autism awareness, to autism acceptance, to inclusion. And that, at the end of the day, is the goal. It's not to have special programs for certain kids, that it's to be able to expose all kids to everybody, and be comfortable with that and understand. During the summer, we hosted our very first special needs camp at Sky Zone. So Sky Zone hosted their camp, and we took our kids and had camp right along with them. They just had additional supports. Those kids that went to the Sky Zone camp learned that some kids talk through an iPad. Some kids talk through sign language. They got exposure to things that I don't think that they would have otherwise. And I think about, if they were just at Vets Park, would they approach this child because they don't speak back or they don't understand? Having had this exposure and this experience, they may now.
Sure.
It's not uncomfortable. I do understand that, some kids talk through their iPad, and that makes more sense to me.
It's not something that's different, right?
It's not something that's different.
Yeah.
With that has also been the Live Like London initiative, where London now does all of her, we homeschool London, so we pulled her because we felt that she really needed to learn about her community, and that would be the life skills that she needed to have. And in doing that, we're finding that a lot of these local small businesses that I see at Shop Hamilton are really embracing London coming into their businesses and asking questions and learning. Well, how would, she goes to Brothers, and the wait staff learn how London would order, because she doesn't order verbally. And so people have been really, really welcoming and great. We get messages on our Facebook, hey, can you come out to, can London come to lunch here today? Because the staff learns, she learns. It's a really good experience for everybody. So that inclusivity piece is really important for us.
So talk about the partnerships, right? Like you open your space, right? And now through the organization Shop Hamilton or other organizations, right, how you've grown and how you've expanded some of the services, right?
Yeah.
And educated people, right? And it sounds like it's coming from both ends, right? So a Sky Zone wants to be involved with you to learn, as you said, too.
Yeah.
And you with that. So talk a little bit just about some of the partnerships you've had.
So Sky Zone was one of the first that actually had us come out and train their staff, like had their staff set aside time to come and be trained about working with neurodivergent kids, what they may encounter. A child that may not respond to a whistle, or a child that may take their socks off, and that is a sensory issue. So we were really excited when Josh asked us to come in and train the staff, because it demonstrated an investment, a care in what they were doing for the community. The little gym of Hamilton, London goes there every Wednesday.
That's where my little one had her birthday party. She loved it. Yeah,
it's great. And and Kevin was really, really great with London, and said, you know what, I think she could do that. We were skeptical. Is she going to be able to do this? She's now been doing it for a year and a half.
Wow.
And again, the feedback from the kids that are in the class with her and the parents that sit and watch, it is mutually beneficial. They are comfortable. Sometimes you'll see these little ones. London, although she's 10, she is in a class with about 5 and 6 year olds, and she looks like the elf. But these 5 and 6 year olds know, London, we're supposed to be doing this, and so they guide her to where she's supposed to be and what she's supposed to be doing, and she is amused by their interest in her, and so it's been a really great experience, and I'm glad that Kevin pushed us to not just, because we were going to just do a special needs class, and he said, let's try it. And I'm really glad that he pushed us to do that, because it was a great partnership. And now we send tons of kids over there because they've demonstrated the ability to help us.
See, it's good to push people outside of their comfort zone a little bit, right? Even if it's doing a radio show.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
it's the truth.
Especially, being at Little Gym, right? It had to be nerve-wracking for you or some other first-time parents, because you were on the opposite side of a glass, right?
Correct.
I mean, there is now something between you and your kid, and you're nervous and you're anxious, and to see then your kid thrive has to be something uplifting for parents.
Oh yeah,
too.
I absolutely. And I think that's the other side of it, is that the family experience, the nervousness, the stress, the worry, is real. And so it's not just the child with a disability that struggles, it's the siblings. I think about Landon and the things that he doesn't get to do because we are nervous. We're afraid that she won't do well, or that it'll be too much for her. So kind of going back to that wraparound piece of how do we support everybody so that everybody has the confidence to be able to try things and then problem solve it when it doesn't really work out. Another really cool partnership is the Elks Club reached out to us last year and said, we have a lot of members who have children with special needs. We'd like to be able to offer those parents a night out. Would you offer a parent's night out so that they can drop their kids off with you, the kids can have a nice night with you, they'll know that they're safe, but that mom and dad get to go have dinner. And so they did that last year, and it was a really nice thing for the parents. The parents were so appreciative, and they just signed up to do 3 more.
Wow.
So it's catching on, and I'm happy to be a part of it, and I'm happy when another agency or business says, you know what, they're going to be able to help us. So the partnerships have been really cool.
And it shows how you've been embraced, I think, by the community.
Absolutely.
As well, right? That so many people from so many different things, whether it's a restaurant, whether they're a private business, a nonprofit, member organization, they all everybody's coming from different places to try to improve the community and improve things for kids in the area too. It's got to be uplifting to see.
Definitely.
So we got to take our next break.
Okay.
I know we haven't even touched on the commission yet, so I want to get to that, but we'll be back in just a little bit with Nicole.
Kessel Dermatology in Hamilton Square is an award-winning dermatology practice led by Dr. Daniel Kessel, a board-certified dermatologist. He and his expert staff treat patients of all ages. They offer treatments of all types of skin, hair, and nail conditions, and annual skin cancer screenings, anti-aging treatments, ultraviolet A and B light treatments, skin tightening procedures, Botox, and other treatments that enhance your skin's overall health and appearance. Kessel Dermatology is open Monday through Thursday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., Friday, 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. For appointments, call 609-890-2600. That's 609-890-2600. Or visit KesselDermatology.com. They're at 1700 Whitehorse, Hamilton Square Road. Kessel Dermatology. They're good. Merrill Reese, here to tell you about my good friends at Haldeman Ford-Subaru on Route 33 in Hamilton Township. For outstanding sales and service, you can depend on the folks at Haldeman Ford-Subaru for the best value on new and pre-owned Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs, along with a great selection of value-priced new and pre-owned Subarus. And no one offers the service that Haldeman does in their huge, state-of-the-art service facility. Service so great that many area municipalities and commercial fleets get their service performed by Haldeman Ford-Subaru. From Langhorne to Princeton, folks like you to commercial fleets trust the name Haldeman for sales and service. Haldeman Ford-Subaru, Route 33 in Hamilton Township.
Well, welcome back to This Month in Hamilton. Want to again start out by thanking our sponsors, Capital Health System, Haldeman Ford and Subaru, Saul Funeral Home, and Kessel Dermatology. So, Nicole, we talked a lot about full spectrum, right, and some of the services, but I think you got even another initiative you're doing as part of a nonprofit of that. So what's going on there?
So Full Spectrum Nonprofit has kind of re-changed the mission in response to the need for evaluation. So right now, somebody looking to get a child evaluated for autism is it's a 23-month waiting list.
Wow.
So if you think about, you have suspicions, you know something's not right, you're getting calls from daycare or getting calls from school, and they're encouraging you, get an evaluation. So it's a very specific evaluation. It's a neurodevelopmental evaluation that can assess whether or not a child is on the spectrum and give them that diagnosis. The diagnosis is important for school services. It's important for insurance based services. Without the diagnosis, you're really limited on what you're able to do. And services for therapy are just extremely costly. So early detection and early evaluation gets you into those services that much quicker. So 23 months is a really long time to wait.
Crazy long, right?
Yeah.
Especially for parents, right?
Yeah, the anxiety, the wondering, the trying to help, the not having the resources. So Full Spectrum Nonprofit is going to start really hammering down on that being our only initiative, is fundraising and taking donations for being able to pay for private evaluation services so that a parent would be able to have this evaluation done in a month as opposed to 23. Right. And so the distinction being that a provider that takes insurance has a 23-month waiting list. However, somebody who will do it for private pay could be a 1-month waiting list. Private pay is about $3,000 per evaluation. And that's a huge hardship for families. And it's a struggle when you know that they need it. And so the guilt that comes associated with that, it really has an impact on the entire family unit. So that is going to be going into 2025. The Full Spectrum Nonprofit sole initiative is to take in funds to be able to pay for evaluation services so that we can get kids into therapeutic services faster.
So for those listening that want to reach out about raising money for the nonprofit, right? Maybe they have a loved one who they believe needs services, right?
Yeah.
What's the best way for them to get in touch with you, your organization, all of that?
They can give us a call, 609-219-1600, and tell us what you need. So it's that, if you have an idea, or hey, I have a child who's 13 and they really need friends, they need social skills. Let us know. This is what we're about. We're about responding to what the community needs. So giving us a call.
You have a website, an email?
Yep. They can come to the website, fullspectrumtherapypartners.com, our Facebook. They can leave us a message on Facebook or give us a call.
What was the number again?
609-219-1600.
Okay, great. So, or a Google search probably gets you, right?
Yep.
But for those who maybe don't have Google or just listening real quick, right? Call, go on Facebook, go Google it, get on the website, and they can reach out about any one of those things we've kind of talked about. That's awesome. So I've given you an additional responsibility.
You sure have.
But I think that's a credit to you and how much I appreciate what you're doing for the community, right? And so just like with so many things, you know, I came into office and 75 days later, the pandemic hits and I'm shutting everything down.
Yeah.
And one of the things that it was already starting to slow down, but certainly stopped then during COVID was our Commission with Special Needs here in Hamilton. So this year we've made a commitment to reinvigorating it. We've got a lot of people appointed to it. What we're proud of as a township is people with different backgrounds in helping those. So maybe it's physical disabilities, maybe it's autism specialties, right? Whatever it is, because so much goes into that, right? But talk a little bit now, just the Commission with Special Needs and what you guys have been up to. You've had a few meetings so far this year, right?
Yeah.
And that.
So I want to thank you for including me, because that was kind of a big deal, unexpected. That was a big deal, but we jumped right in. We started to have meetings, and the very first thing that kind of came about was talking about an inclusive park, a handicap accessible park in Hamilton, and anybody who I've spoken to knows that that has been something that I've talked about forever. Vets Park is great, except for if you have a runner and you're not a runner. I'm
By the
sure.
way, I'm famously slow. My 4-year-old runs faster than me. So
I have often said, my fear about going to the park is that if London takes off and I run after her, I'm going to end up on YouTube, and I'm gonna see it, and it's gonna be a problem for me. So, but having a space that, like DeMayo Field, right, that is completely enclosed, that a parent can say, I see you, you're in here, but I don't have to chase after you. I don't have to worry. A parent who has a child with a wheelchair or who uses a walker, that they'd be able to go and not have that concern of stairs and things like that. So when the commission started to talk about a park, this was I was super excited about it. We actually have a meeting this Monday where we're going to continue that conversation and start to talk to other people who have done this in other towns to get ideas on what type of adaptive equipment, what do people use, what do people want. We also are talking about how do we talk to people who live here and find out what they need, what they want. Because that inclusive piece, that's what all this is about.
Mm-hmm.
So super excited that there is this great group of individuals, like you said, with all different backgrounds and all different connections and ties to the community, are really seeing the need for something like this. So it's a really cool initiative.
And so I just want to credit, we had one of our public works employees, right? We saved money on a different park by partnering with an outside organization to improve Apollo Park. So instead of spending money there, we saved that money. And he's like, I want to create a sensory safe playground. All sorts of bells and whistles went off in my head, right? One, I love that the employee had the initiative to say, I'm seeing this. I'd love for the town to do this, right? Here's what I think. And no knock on them, but they don't have the perspective of maybe 10 different commission members coming about this in all sorts of ways. And they wanted to put it in a place where Vets Park, where I was like, well, maybe it's too loud, maybe it's too crowded, maybe it's, all those kinds of things that then this commission now helps fill those gaps, right? And maybe we can't get every question answered or find the Goldilocks place to put it, right? But they've already, talking with your chair and Dan Schweck, hey, there's grants out there from the state, right? Mm-hmm. That if you put up 100, they'll put up 300, and now you really create something
amazing.
Awesome. But I love having the commission there to now take this on the next step.
It's a really, really inspiring group of people, and I think that we are going to be successful. I think we're going to be able to pull this off. Learning about grant opportunities and funding options. I think this is a very, very real possibility and something we could be looking at in the very near future.
And then it becomes, one, we're a huge town, right? And so we know, whether they're hidden or not hidden, there's plenty of kids with developmental disabilities.
Oh, absolutely.
In town, right?
Absolutely.
But outside of that, we're also a leader in the community, in the greater Mercer County community. So whether you live in Lawrence, even if you're not in Mercer County and live in Allentown, right?
Yeah.
There's kids in all these different communities who can then come to Hamilton, or their families come to Hamilton, and we really become a draw and a known entity for being a safe space and a leader. What we're trying to do is be a leader in this area too.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Well, with Children's Specialized Hospital being right here in Hamilton, that is also a huge draw. So there's a lot of families that have placed themselves here as a result of the services that we have in Hamilton. So we do have a higher population for that reason.
Now the difficulty is finding a place to do it, right? The space to do it.
We'll work it out.
I know there's a lot of energetic commission members.
Yeah.
So I just want to say I appreciate you individually, all the commission members for really taking this project on, right? It's the first one now as a new commission.
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be other projects that the commission comes up with on their own or we haven't even thought of, right? But I think it's a good first way to
absolutely
to get people involved. So Nicole, we're almost out of time. What else do you just want any listeners to know about Full Spectrum? About maybe you're a family member thinking you've got a kid with that might be on the spectrum. Any of those topics that you just want to leave people with today?
I think I just want people to understand that whatever you're struggling with, somebody else is struggling too. And I think that there's a shared experience that really we can all benefit from. And so if that can happen and I can have the honor of having that under my roof and providing that connectivity, connecting people who are struggling in similar manners, people who are thriving, people who have success stories, between Full Spectrum and Psych Health, I want to make sure that we have a place for people to have that support. And so reach out for any reason. We just want to help. So I'm excited about all the things that we can possibly do, and I'm super appreciative of the Township and all of your support.
No, I appreciate you. It's been I didn't get to see you this past Sunday, but I've heard
super
amazing.
Busy.
Yes, I can only imagine how you felt Sunday night. Hopefully you just got to lay down and fall asleep at some point, right? But no, what makes this community so great is people like yourself and those who you work with and the partners you've mentioned, right, who all see something that needs to be improved and tackle it from different perspectives and from different ways. And that's what makes Hamilton so great. So
absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I want to thank you all for joining us again for another edition of This Month in Hamilton for October 2024. We will have another edition coming up in November. But remember, go vote. Either vote by mail, vote early, or vote on Election Day. And that's so important to how our country runs and how our community runs. With that, I want to again thank WBCB 1490 AM for allowing us each and every month to bring you This Month in Hamilton. And lastly, thank our sponsors, Capital Health System, Haldeman Ford-Subaru, Saul Funeral Home, and Kessel Dermatology. And with that, we will see you next month.